What's up guys, welcome back to another video. The signals for Bitcoin today are a little bit mixed in the sense that sometimes things are pointing towards the upside, sometimes things are pointing towards the downside. If you're looking at the market and you have no idea how to read these signals, we're going to try to break this down today in this video. By the way, just to recap a little bit from yesterday, after you swept out the London liquidity, you did indeed get the CISD on the 5-minute chart. Unfortunately, price did not go much further, and so yesterday ended up being a loss. And so currently that puts us at 96 wins out of the last 121 calls that I've made here on YouTube publicly since February. So even though yesterday was a loss, if you're new to this channel, just understand that we're probably at the right place because we tend to be right more often than we're wrong. At least it's February. The scenario that ended up happening yesterday is something that we discussed as well, which is like we have just filled in this weekly, order block, and it wouldn't be surprising if price were to start rebounding from that point onwards. It's just that even if it does, we're not going to take a long because we want to wait for more confirmation signals, at least towards the long side, before we start buying into falling knives. It's not our goal as traders to, catch the bottom. One of my favorite sayings in all of trading is top pickers and bottom pickers usually end up becoming cotton pickers. And there's really good reason for that. When you just jump into the market right here, there's nothing wrong with that per se, but your win rate is going to be lower because you're essentially buying into weakness before any sort of order flow or any sort of market structure has changed. And so, yeah, there are going to be 2 out of 10 times where you do in fact catch the bottom, but then the remaining 8 of those other times where you lose miserably, it's going to cause you to lose so much confidence that even if you did end up catching the bottom, it's like you already went through so many losses that your confidence has taken a huge hit. And let's just say it's not really, you're not going to be risking the proper size that you should be on that position. And so even if you on paper catch the bottom, which is really cool, you can brag about that, chances are it's not going to make you proper money. Better thing to do, wait for all of the confirmation signals to be put into place before you jump in. And in this video I'm going to discuss what those confirmation signals are. But anyways, just taking a look on the daily chart so far, again, we have bounced yesterday, and so today's daily buzz is supposed to be bullish. The only problem that I have with that is the fact that right now we are going to be trading into this bearish order block right here on the daily chart. This is just some sort of bearish resistance that ideally we would like to see getting traded through before we jump into any sort of longs. And the story is the same on the 1 hourly chart because technically, right, this could be a new bullish order block, right? A potential bullish order block. Unfortunately, we are trading also right into some kind of bearish resistance, which, by the way, I've already mentioned this on Twitter. If you would like to get some more up-to-date, just timely updates, feel free to follow me on Twitter. This is where I'm going to be just posting not only Bitcoin, but also altcoins as well. So that sounds interesting to you. It's _ the art of crypto. But otherwise, going back into the 1 hourly chart, just to explain to you what I mean, I want you to take a look at just basically this entire leg here, right? As you form new bearish order blocks, price comes into the bearish order blocks and then starts going lower, right? Basically, it respects the bearish order block once more over here, respects the bearish order block, forms a new low, boom, that becomes a new order block, price breaks down, comes back up, retraces into the bearish order block and starts going lower. In fact, on Monday, the call that we made was that price would head into this bearish order block right here and start dumping, and that is exactly what it did. And as long as, basically what I'm trying to tell you here is that price is currently still very much in bearish order flow. And when you are in bearish order flow, you are going to prioritize shorts before jumping into longs. You can jump into longs. For example, there's been many instances where, okay, this could be a potential change in state of delivery. Price is now shifting into bullish order flow now, and then just to find out that, hey, you got completely blown through. The reason why we didn't get caught up in this, and the reason why we were able to actually short the top and then trade it lower, is because we understand the overall order flow. We understand the overall higher time frame flow. And so far, even though in the immediate short term, there is some kind of bullish structure or some kind of bullish signal, overall, it's going to take a little bit more than this to break the bearishness that we've been going through for basically the last 3 months. And so that's what you want to pay attention to. So in terms of the daily chart, ideally you're going to want to see Bitcoin break about 116,850, although that is still quite a ways away from current price. And so you're going to want to use the lower time frame, utilize the lower time frame to potentially catch onto an earlier confirmation. For swing traders out there, don't get me wrong, this is already a decent level to just start getting into, because overall, if you take a look at let's say the weekly order flow, right, it's still looking pretty good in the sense that you don't really have it's still bullish. Right here, it's just a retracement. If you're a swing trader, you ideally be looking to accumulate your positions here. Regardless of what may happen, short, every trade has the potential to lose, For those of you who are wondering like, oh, is the top in already, or is it still safe to be buying the top or like buying the dip? The fact of the matter is, like, there is nothing on the chart that indicates that this is going to be over. The only things that may be indicating that, maybe pointing you towards that, is your own thoughts on what you think the market is supposed to do. Like, for example, right now, like, there are some of you that look at Elliott wave theory and you're like, oh, this kind of looks like Elliott wave theory. This looks like wave number 5 should be over. Or like, there's so many arbitrary theories that you can come up with that can justify a top. But then you can also just look at what the market is doing at the moment. The reality is, market structure is still intact, order flow is still intact, and until that changes, like, just keep buying high and selling higher. Biggest mistake you make in a bull run is thinking that something is too expensive, or thinking that it's over just to see it pump another 300, 500% without you. The only way you can overcome that is just keep trading what the market's telling you until it tells you something different, and then you accept that final loss. Right? Chances are, as we get closer to the end of the bull run, like our long calls or like our buy the dip kind of plays are going to start losing. And that's okay. It's going to be like 3 or 5 losses in a string of like 50 wins that we've had throughout the last 3 years. And so it's all about that kind of mentality. It's like, just keep trading what the market's telling you, because as long as you have been trading long, well, basically the last 2 years, you would be making a whole load, like generational wealth at this point. But the people that stuck to their beliefs and like, oh, you know, we're in the middle of a recession, you know, there cannot be a bull run, or like Bitcoin's too expensive, or whatever. Sure, they may be right, but did they make money? You got to get clear on what your priorities are. You're trying to make money or you're trying to be right. But anyways, with that said, the call for today is going to be, again, a little bit ambiguous. It's like there is an argument for things shifting bullish, but I think there is a stronger argument today that it remains bearish. But regardless of what call that I make today, one thing that I want you to take away from this is I want you to be a little bit more cautious, because again, the fact of the matter is we're getting mixed signals. So play today safe. Also, like, if I'm not mistaken, we may have news today. Yeah, we do have news today at 8:30 a.m. So look for the most volatile move of the day to occur anywhere between 7:30 a.m. to, which is an hour before news, to an hour after news. So that's going to be like 9:30 a.m. Now, ideally, that is when, you know, these moves will happen. But let's try to break it down. So now that we understand what's going on in the higher time frame and what's going on the middle time frame, which is the 1 hourly chart, another thing to keep in mind is that the 1 hourly chart seems to be breaking lower at the moment. This is a potential bearish order block from the 1 hourly chart at the moment. So when price potentially retraces into 111,050, it could potentially jump into a short here. In fact, this level right here is going to be like instrumental or like monumental or whatever to what call we are going to make today. Like, essentially, we're going to be looking for shorts, but in the event that this level gets broken through, which is 111,500, if that gets broken through on the 1 hourly chart, it shows that indeed order flow has, you know, started to shift into bullishness, because this is a bearish order block. If this does not get respected, it means, again, bullish order flow could be in play here. And so in the event that you break above here, you retrace into it, you have the potential to flip that previous resistance into potential support. And that's when you can potentially jump into a long trade from that point onwards. But until that happens, we're just going to, you know, play by eye, see, trade what the market's trying to tell us. And let's try to break this down a bit more. Secondly, we also have just filled in this bullish order block right here. And as you can see, based on current price, we can just fill in the bullish order block. And there is a potential this would lead to that pop. So if that happens, that's the call you take. Now, if this happens instead, which is what I'm going to break down right now, then you take a short. For those of you that are like, oh, hey, how can this be a call if you're not going to just give us one call? The reality of it is that not every day is a proper trading day. Like, there has been so many days throughout the last like 120 videos that I've made where things are super clear and there's a clear direction and things are lining up and it's super easy to make the call. There are also days like this where one time frame is pointing up and one time frame is pointing down. And it's stupid to think that, oh, every day is the same and every day there is only one call. And the reality is some days are not even trading days, and yet I still come on here to make a call just so you guys can have like the clearest picture possible. So to those of you that are like, oh, you know, cannot be a call if it's like two directions. Guys, I'm preparing you for what's about to happen. I cannot, like, obviously I'm recording this at like 5 a.m. I have no idea what's going to happen at 8:30 a.m. Some days I seem to have a crystal ball and I get it right. Some days I don't. And what's important, I think, is to prepare you for the scenarios that are bound to happen. And depending on if scenario A or scenario B happens, at least you have a plan ready to make money, right? I'm not trying to be right here. I'm just trying to prepare you for what is to come. And now that we're on the lower time frames, and apologies guys, like I just needed to get that out of my system. It always like pisses me off when I see people like, oh, you know, it cannot be a call if you do two ways. Like, I try showing up every single day to make a call, even on days where you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Try that, see how it feels. I had to get that out of my system. Now that we're on the 5-minute chart, that's the Asia session right there. Asia is usually accumulation. That is what that session is about. And then you have London, that tends to be manipulation. So far, that seems to be the case, where you have manipulated, swept out the Asia lows, filled in some kind of a 1 hourly bullish order block. And so right now, the thing that determines whether or not this will be manipulation or if this will be a breakout. So essentially, there are two profiles today: accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution the other way. The second scenario that could happen is you get accumulation, you get a breakout, and then New York retraces into the order block, and then you get continuation. It's either one of the two that's going to happen today. And the thing that's going to determine what is going to happen is that when you get into the level of 111,000, like this order block right here, basically, you are going to want to understand this, right? Regardless of whether or not you come to here or here, you're going to be in bullish order flow. When you are in bullish order flow, it means you should be looking for longs, at least on the 5-minute chart. And if you are in bullish order flow, you do not jump into a short until that bullish order flow switches into bearish order flow. Okay, so essentially, the game plan for today is super simple. When you return back to this area, if things start showing bearish order flow, especially between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m., you're going to want to jump into a short. Your stop loss placed above here. Pretty simple so far. If you get bullish order flow, and it just continues to get bullish order flow until you break above this level right here, then potentially you want to start looking for a long once you come to something like this. Super simple, super straightforward. Both scenarios are possible. I honestly, hand on my heart, I do not know what's going to happen. All I can say is that I will continue to monitor the situation, and I will post more updates on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter if you want more updates. Because yeah, today is just not one of those super clear-cut days where it's like, oh yeah, price is going to do this. Monday was one of those days. Tuesday, yesterday, was a little bit, was also a little bit tough because the higher average are pointing towards the downside, but then you're pointing towards the downside right into a weekly bullish order block. So there's an argument to be made for selling, and there's also an argument to be made for buying. On these days, on days like that, I usually don't trade. But because I've made a commitment to you guys on YouTube that I will come here and I will make a video every single weekday, I still do. But on a day like this, you can see why this would be a no trade day for me, right? Direction's a bit unclear. Today, there's a potential for today to be a trading, but it highly depends on how price reacts from this block right here. And I think that's the mentality that you want to have as a trader. It's not about predicting. It's about preparing for whatever scenarios that may happen in the markets. And when they do happen, then you simply read and react. And by the way, if you enjoy what you see on these videos, if you can see the proof is in the pudding, and if you would like to learn my trading system for yourself, feel free to click the first link in the description box down below and book a call to bootcamp. I'm going to work one-on-one with you to install this exact system that you see on these videos. But otherwise, see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.